in that newborn stage, as people like to call it, the fourth trimester, is very difficult, especially in the middle of the night when your baby is crying and wants a bottle and you're tired. The last thing you want to be doing is button. Like, you don't want to be doing that. If you can afford it, then do what is best for you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha, and as you can see by the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 newborn baby items that I love and actually use. So my daughter is currently 5 months old, so she's definitely out of that newborn stage, but in those first 12 weeks when she was a newborn, these are things that I feel like personally were useful and that I actually used, because as a new mom, going through pregnancy, you're looking at all these different things, all these different gadgets, and you feel like you need everything, and you really don't. But there are some things that are useful that I personally feel like can be a bit advantageous to have and makes things a bit easier, because the postpartum period after you've given birth and that newborn stage, as people like to call it, the fourth trimester, is very difficult. So if there are things that will make it easier for you, I suggest do that. But these are things that I personally feel like made life a bit easier for me and were very useful, and I don't feel like it was a waste of money. Some of them are a bit pricier than others, so obviously do whatever's in your budget, but some of these things were gifted to me via my baby shower and baby registry. Others are things that we bought ourselves. Pretty much everything I'm listing can be found on Amazon or any major retail store, but I'm gonna list them in my description box so you guys can have the links to it directly if you're interested in purchasing any of them. And I do have them listed here on my laptop, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So the first thing I'll say is the Mika Mickey baby bassinet. I don't know if it's Mika or Micah. It's probably Micah, but Mika Mickey, whatever, baby bassinet. We got that from Amazon, and we've pretty much used it every single day since she's came from the hospital. So that's what she sleeps in. She still sleeps in it now on my side of the bed. Even though, as you can see behind me, we do have a full crib for her, she still has not yet transitioned into her crib yet. So, but she is starting to outgrow her bassinet at 5 months. So pretty soon we are going to transition her to this, which would be more comfortable and safer as well. But that bassinet, I personally feel like, was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the sturdiest, best quality bassinet in the world, but I feel like it was pretty good and standard and safe to use. I feel like I really like the zipper thingy on the side where you can bring down the side of the bassinet and like easily have access to your baby. So pretty much every night we kind of kept that open on my side, so I can easily grab her if she was starting to wake up or cry or whatever. Now we keep it closed because she is at that stage where she can roll or turn over. So for safety reasons, we do not keep that side open anymore. But in the newborn stage, they kind of just lay there. So that was really nice to use. And I personally like that it wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. It had wheels, so you can roll it around, even though we pretty much kept it in the room, but it does have the ability to roll around. And yeah, and it's just not very expensive. I think we might have spent like $179, I believe. Definitely not more than $200 on it. It was around the time of Black Friday, so I don't know if that made a difference when we bought it, but it definitely is not as expensive as some other bassinets like the Mamaroo. Oh no, I think the Mamaroo is a swing, but the Four Moms brand, you know that they have like the Mamaroo swing, but they also have a bassinet as well, which I think is pretty pricey. And then there's also the Snoo, which is like $1,600, which is crazy to me. Obviously, if you could afford it, you know, do what you want. But for me personally, I feel like that's kind of outlandish to spend that much on something that they're only going to use for like less than 6 months. But, you know, to each their own. So yeah, that's definitely the first thing. We did add a mattress topper on top of it. And I'll link that also. It's, I don't know if it was from the same brand, Mickey, but I think it's just a mattress topper that was compatible with it. But we pretty much just got it because we just wanted a little bit more comfort in the bassinet for her. And we also got bassinet sheets from Amazon as well, so I'll link those down below if you guys want to check those out. The next thing is the Decor Classic Diaper Pail. This diaper pail, I personally feel like is great. When I was pregnant, I kept looking at different diaper pails, like the Ubi, what's that really popular one? The Diaper Genie, the Decor Classic, and like I was just finding it so hard to pick one because some people said that they still experience like a smell, like they would still smell the diapers, the dirty diapers from the diaper pail, or you know, some of them, like, I don't know, I think like they just would rust or they weren't clean or something like that. I don't know. So I would see all these different comments on it or reviews for these diaper pails, and I'm just like, should I even get one? Some people are like, they're not even worth it. But for us, living in an apartment, and we lived in a different apartment prior to the one that we're in now, and that one was a little bit like smaller, and it's just like we just didn't want the smell, like, you know, leaving the trash can, like if we put it in our regular trash can and all that stuff. So we were like, okay, we need to have a specific place where we put her diapers. And I feel like personally, I have never really smelled anything coming from it. I feel like it does a really good job with containing the smell. I feel like you could fit a lot of diapers in it. We don't change out the bag every single day, and I do like that it's compatible with any kind of bag. Like, you don't have to buy specific bags for it, unlike the Diaper Genie. I think you have to buy specific bags that are compatible with the Diaper Genie. So I personally didn't like that, so I like that you can just use whatever bag. We did get the package, or I selected the option where it came with bags, so we already had bags included with the Decor Classic diaper pail, so that was pretty useful that it came with it. But now I think we're starting to run low, and she's already 5 months, so I'm like, the fact that I haven't had to purchase any bags for it has been great. Like, the bags that came with it we're still using. I may have to purchase some more because I do like their bags personally more than using a regular trash bag. But yeah, I think that was a great purchase. We actually recently purchased it for our friends, one of our couple friends who recently had a baby, and I was like, okay, I think that's pretty great. It was on her registry along with a different one, but I can only attest to this one, so I think that was a great gift. So the next thing I'll say are the Dr. Brown's anti-colic bottles, specifically the glass ones. We decided to go with the glass ones because glass, I think, is a bit safer to use, and it is easier to clean, and I feel like they last longer as well. And I feel like it does better with, like, you know, heating them up in bottle warmers and things like that. The other ones are fine too, but our preference was just glass bottles. So she's been drinking from glass bottles since she was born, basically, and I feel like they've done great. We personally didn't try any other bottles, but I do know some parents like to try some different bottles based off whatever they feel like their baby may prefer. Just like pacifiers, not every baby is going to like the same pacifier in comparison to another baby, but she did really well with the Dr. Brown's bottles. We haven't had to use any other ones. I personally feel like I can't really say if it made a difference with the colic or gassiness, but I personally feel like she has not been super gassy or experienced any kind of reflux or anything like that to any serious degree. Obviously she would like spit up and things like that, but nothing serious. I feel like she really wasn't that gassy of a baby, and I do think that the flow system, I don't know, the ventilation system in the bottle definitely helps. The only thing that sucks about these bottles is the cleaning process because of all those little parts and whatever. But when you buy them, they do come with like little brushes to clean like the nipple, the vent system, like the tube, and things like that. But it's just a pain to clean. But yeah, it's just it's just a pain to clean, especially when you have to clean other things like pump parts and, you know, pacifiers and this and that. And it's just like, okay, all these little parts just are adding on to your workload. But I still wouldn't choose a different bottle set. And yeah, like I feel like they're great. So highly recommend, highly suggest. So next thing, which relates to bottle cleaning, is the Baby Brezza sterilizer and dryer. So this was a baby shower gift to us from one of my close friends, which I personally think was great because it is kind of pricey. It's like $109. So for some people that may not be in their budget. We would have gotten it regardless, but the fact that somebody got it for us made it all the better. But this has been very useful. There are old school ways to sterilize bottles, like boiling them, because obviously like hot water, you know, kills bacteria or whatever. But then I'm thinking like the drying process after, like do you just lay it out to dry and then like storing them? So I just feel like this is just the perfect little device to sterilize your bottles, because after you wash them, you just load it up, turn on the timing that you want to set, whether it's 45 minutes, 60 minutes, or 30 minutes. So you turn on the timing for the sterilization and the drying. You could do sterilization separately, drying separately, or you could do both. I always choose both because why would you sterilize and then not dry? But yeah, so you do the sterilization and then it automatically dries it, and then you don't have to unload it right away. Like, so if you're gonna do it overnight or whatever, like it's fine, it's just in there. So personally, I just feel like it's just been very useful when it comes to bottle washing, cleaning. Well, the washing part I do manually, but it's definitely a lot easier to sterilize and make sure that they're actually clean before using for my baby. So and especially when they're in that newborn stage, like you're really cognizant of what you're exposing your baby to because they're so young, they're not vaccinated. I think you're not supposed to even take your baby out until they're vaccinated. So for us, like she really didn't go anywhere until she was 2 months old. The only place she would really go to is the doctor's office and like our mom's houses, which we trust. So my mom's house, his mom's house. But other than that, she didn't go anywhere. So anyway, back to the sterilizer. I just feel like it was great to use. The only thing I wish is that the one that we got, I wish it was a little bit bigger because again, like the bottles we use does have so many parts, and on top of that I was pumping, so the pump parts as well, so it was kind of tricky trying to fit everything all at once. But for the most part, I think it was fine. I think they do have a bigger version, but I don't think that was necessary for us, and I think that one is more expensive, like closer to like 150 to 200, which I feel like it's kind of a bit much. But again, if you can afford it, then do what is best for you. So the next thing is the rechargeable baby nail file. I don't remember the specific brand, but I'll put it on the screen or you'll see it in the description box. But for me personally, I feel like this is a lot easier to cut my baby's nails. But with this, I found it a lot easier to trim her nails because her nails grow so fast. But I'm always kind of scared to use a regular nail clipper because I don't want to clip her skin and then she either is experiencing pain or she bleeds or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't want to do all that. And their nails are so like thin that I'm like, how do you even do this with a nail clipper? But you also have to do it regularly because they'll like scratch their face and whatever, and you don't want that. But with this, it's like you're just filing down their nail rather than cutting it, which if you've ever gotten your nails done, you'll see nail techs, especially if you're doing like an acrylic set or what's the other one, dip powder or whatever, they'll use a nail file drill, and that's kind of like what this is like, but a lot safer and a baby version. So I thought it was pretty cool, but they also include adult parts as well, so you could do it for yourself too. So there was actually one night that I used it on my fiance's nails, and I didn't file it the best, like it wasn't like the straightest, but it definitely did the job. Like it was a lot shorter than it was before. So I think it works. I think it's a safe way to file your baby's nails or trim them if you're scared to use nail clippers. So the next thing is the Oogie Bear nose and ear gadget, which this in particular removes boogers and earwax. So it's like this little stick thingy that has like two sides and like with two little loops, if that makes sense. And within that, you can use it to like take earwax out of their ears, which I don't think I've ever used it for that. I haven't really seen her produce earwax like that. But she definitely has gotten boogers, and their nostrils are so small, so it's not like you can pick it that easily. Sometimes you could try to, like, if it's like on the edge, but with this thing, it made it a lot easier to just, you know, snag out the boogers and things like that. She didn't always like the feeling of it, but it was definitely easier for me to like be gentle rather than using, I guess some people use Q-tips, but I feel like Q-tips will just push it in further. So I don't know, but for me personally, I feel like this was really useful. She doesn't get as much boogers now these days, so I don't really use it as much, but during those days, I feel like she was more like snotty, if that makes sense. I feel like newborn babies have a lot of like phlegm and whatever, so she definitely had some more boogers at that time, and this just made nose picking a lot easier. The next thing is the Shinerk baby safety car mirror. Personally, I didn't even think to get a car mirror until I saw somebody else's registry, and I was like, do I even really need that? But truthfully, whenever I'm driving alone with her, I actually use it. Like, that's basically how I check on her. I can see if she's sleeping, I can see if she spit up, you know, even if she's crying, like I could see if something's wrong or if she's just crying just because or whatever. So it is nice to be able to just like check without actually having to turn around and like physically like lean over, especially when you're driving. Like, that's not efficient. You can't really just do that at any given point unless you stop. So I found that very useful, and she doesn't really look at herself in it. I don't really think she notices that it's there, but I feel like when she's a little older, maybe she'll find some enjoyment with that. I'm not sure, but for right now, I do feel like it is very useful. The next thing is a Snuggle Me Organic Infant Lounger. We got it in the color Gumdrop, and truthfully, the only reason I bought it was because I was pregnant during the winter, and you know, Black Friday was going on, so I saw that it was on sale, I think at Bye Bye Baby, and they were having some kind of sale where I got the stroller and the Snuggle Me, but the Snuggle Me, I got it for like $51. And if you know the prices of loungers like the Snuggle Me, the DockATot, they can be pretty pricey. The DockATot is like $150, I think, $150 to $175 on average, not including the covers, because sometimes they don't even come with a cute cover. And the Snuggle Me is about like $100 to $109 or something like that, also without a cover. Personally, I don't think this is a must-have. I don't think this is an essential, but I do feel like it was very nice to have on the couch for the most part. That's what she would take naps in. Whenever we were chilling on the couch, we would just place her in that. She seemed very cozy in it. We did stop using it pretty early on. I would say probably by the time she was like 2 months, because one of her grandmas felt like she didn't have any wiggle room to move her arms and legs and things like that. So just so she had some more freedom, we just stopped laying her in there and laid her more flat on a flat surface, like on the couch or bed. But yeah, like I feel like it was pretty useful. It seemed very comfortable for her. There's not much padding in the center, so I don't know if you're supposed to, but we would put like extra blankets or something in there to make it a little bit more comfier. But I thought it was pretty useful. I'm definitely gonna keep it, but I may keep it for like the next baby. I don't know. It's still here, so I don't know what we're gonna do with it. But I personally did like it, even though we didn't use it for very long. And again, it is not an essential, but it is something that I did really like. The next thing isn't necessarily a particular brand, but just like Footie Pajamas in general, like zip up Footie Pajamas, I feel like she lived in those. Highly recommend. If you're not gonna do laundry very often, try to get as much as you can. I would say to cycle through in a week, and also get them in sizes for like within the first 3 months for sure, like that they can grow into. But yeah, like she was wearing them around the clock, especially since at that age you're trying to make sure that they stay pretty warm. So we kind of just kept her in that most of the day, all day, every day. She wasn't really wearing outfits like that, and she wasn't really wearing just regular like sleeveless or like short sleeve and like no pants onesies, if that makes sense. So these things were really useful, but again, specifically the zip up ones, and the ones that are even better are the ones that zip 2 ways, which I think it's Gerber that does that. So I really like those, but I also like the Carter's ones. And then there's some, I do like the Old Navy ones as well. I think those also zip 2 ways. So it's like there's 2 zippers on the zip and it can zip this way, and then you can zip it that way, and then there's another one as well. So I feel like that was really useful. But yeah, like no particular brand, just make sure that you have enough zip Footie pajamas, because very useful. Love them. Way better than the button ones. We did have some button ones that we used, but they would always be the last one that we would pick because they're just not that convenient, especially in the middle of the night when your baby is crying and wants a bottle and you're tired. The last thing you want to be doing is button, 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 button. Like, you don't want to be doing that. So get you or get your baby some zip up Footie pajamas. The last thing I'll say is a changing pad and cover. And I say this because we did not have an official changing table. So we just used a dresser and kind of used it as our changing table, but it didn't actually have the little changing table pocket space. Most changing tables come with a little rectangle where you could put the changing pad in, but for us, we just bought the changing pad and a cover, and I feel like we've used it, well, I've used it pretty much every single time I've changed her. It's not until recently I started changing her just wherever. Sometimes, like if I'm in the living room and I have a diaper nearby, I'm not gonna take her to the room, or sometimes in the middle of the night I'll just change her while she's in her bassinet, or I'll put her on our bed or whatever. Unless she pooped, then I'll go change her on the little changing pad area. But for the most part, I thought it was very useful. But I don't know, is it a must-have? Some people will say no. Some people say they didn't even use their changing tables, so I don't know if you would use a changing pad. But I feel like for me, it was nice having a designated area and a nice comfortable space for her to lay on and change her diaper. And I feel like it's not that big of a deal. Like, some people just didn't use theirs. I don't know why. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's not that comfortable to change your baby just wherever. Like, at a changing table, you could just stand up, do what you have to do, and grab them. But yeah, so that was the last thing. But I would like to also mention the Graco pack and play with bassinet. I personally feel like that was really useful. Even though we didn't keep it at our house, we kept it at his mom's house, so my fiance's mom's house, and it was great to have a space where she could sleep in and lay in while she was there, and we didn't have to figure out any place for her you know, to chill in or whatever. Like, she just had her own little space there. The only reason it's not on my official list of things is because we don't use a pack and play at our place. We just haven't really needed it, but she does have a second pack and play here. But the one with the bassinet was really useful, especially like if you're on the go somewhere, or I don't know, you just need a pack and play in like your living room or something. I personally feel like I really liked it. In our place, we don't really need it because she has a crib, and then she has her bassinet, and then she has like a swing and a tummy time mat, like 2 tummy time mats. So I don't think she would use the pack and play that much here. Maybe in the future we'll bring out the other one, but I feel like that was a nice gift because that was also a gift to us as well. Well, both of the pack and plays were a gift to us. We got 2, which if you haven't watched my what I got from my baby shower video, check that out. I do think I mentioned that we did get some duplicates, including the pack and play. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully it's not too long. I feel like I've been filming for a long time, but hopefully I could keep it under 20 minutes because some of my other videos, it's really hard to keep it under like 30 minutes. But anyway, If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment if any of these items are also some of your favorites, or if you have any recommendations on items that you feel like may be useful to me now that my baby is like 5 months, so she's not a newborn anymore. I may do another video maybe at the 6-month mark for any other items that I feel like are useful, or maybe I'll just wait till she's 1 year. I will be making some more content related. My baby's crying, so I gotta wrap this up. But yeah, please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to turn on your notification bell if you'd like to be notified for any future videos. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time. Okay.